This is it guys, the all-new Toyota Veloz finally launched here in Malaysia. This is essentially Toyota's affordable compact 7-seat MPV, and this replaces the aging Avanza. Now, as most of you would have known by now, this is basically an upmarket version of Perodua's new Alza, but this does come with quite a fair few new unique features that make it different compared to the cheaper Alza. So, what's the Veloz all about and how is it different to the Alza? Let's find out in this video. There is just a single version of the Veloz available here in Malaysia, and it's priced at 95,000 ringgit flat. So that does make it about 20,000 ringgit more than the top spec Alza AV. But first things first, let's talk about the biggest difference, which is the looks. Overall, I think it's still fairly obvious that the Veloz here and the Alza share the same bones. They share the same basic shape and most of the details are identical as well. But I think this time the companies have done a much better job in terms of differentiating the two models. So much better in fact compared to say the Perodua Alza and the Toyota Rush. The headlights are completely different to the Alzas. Here they are slimmer, sleeker, and with a different overall shape as well. On the side, you've got a Veloz script. I think that adds a touch of class to the overall design. Just above the lights, there's this chrome strip that joins the top of the grille all the way back to the D pillar. I think that looks brilliant. But down the center, there's this absolutely massive front grille. The details look, trust me, a lot better in real life compared to the photos. It's a fully 3D design with a cube Y shape, and the overall cut of the grille reminds me sort of the Toyota RAV4. Overall, I think this looks far bolder, far more original compared to the Alza. At the front corners, you've got this big chrome T-bars, and under that is an LED daytime running lights, which is unique to the Veloz here in the Malaysian market. If you buy the car in Indonesia, in the Philippines, in Thailand, you don't get LED DRLs, but here you do. This is also one of the more prominent differentiator factors compared to the Alza. Down the side, you've got these bigger 17-inch wheels with a dual tone design. I think these look really good. They are classy, they are sporty at the same time, and the bigger size does fill up the arches much better than the smaller wheels in the Alza. Speaking of the arches, this car does ride a fair bit taller compared to the Alza, with a minimum ground clearance of 190 mm compared to just 160 on the Alza. Again, this suspension tuning is specific to Malaysia only. The Veloz in Thailand, in Philippines, in Indonesia are a fair bit taller again. And that's because Toyota has decided that Malaysia has slightly better roads compared to our neighbours. Well, I'm not sure if I agree with that though. But back to the wheel arches, the fenders are actually different between this and the Alza. The more pronounced fender lines are actually stamped right into the body panel, together with this chrome strip to join the front all the way to the back. Even the front bonnet is actually different between the Alza and the Veloz. So yeah, while technically it is possible to convert your Alza into a Veloz, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. So if you are planning to just buy a cheaper Alza, do it up a little bit to make it look like a Veloz, yeah, you can, but it's gonna cost you a lot of work, a lot of money. You might as well buy the Veloz to begin with. Another feature that is exclusive to the Veloz is the availability of a dual tone paint job. To have the top of the car painted in black is going to cost you a little bit extra, 1,300 ringgit, but it will give it a bit of a more unique look compared to a single tone Alza. Again, this is an option that is unique to the Malaysian model Veloz. You can have it in other markets, although if you look closely where the black starts at the base of the A-pillar, it's pretty clear that this was not designed from the beginning of the car to have a two-tone option. It's a little bit ham-fisted how they've managed to do this dual-tone look. Moving further back, the window visors here are standard with the car. You don't have to pay extra for it. There is no option for it on the car over here. Also unique to the Veloz is the inclusion of 2 sets of keyless entry sensors. You have it on both front doors, whereas in the Alza it's only available on the driver's side. This makes it a lot more convenient to use overall. At the back, the Veloz looks quite dramatically different to the Alza, especially with this full-width LED taillights. Besides making it look very striking at night, it does visually make it look slightly wider than it actually is overall. Now on the sides, we've got more different, chunkier looking bumpers, and at the back, we've got the same, more pronounced rear arches to match the front. Although at the back here, they are merely plastic body cladding, plastic over fenders, basically. Now one last thing before we head in, the Veloz does have a pair of functional roof rails. These are actually usable, not just cosmetics. They can hold up to 75 kilograms. So on the inside, the Veloz is a little bit different to the Alza, although the differences are not quite as dramatic as it was on the outside. Design and layout wise, it's nearly identical, but the aircon vent does have a bit of a different shape here in the Veloz. A more noticeable difference is that the two-tone look over here is black and cream compared to the more juvenile black and red in the Alza. This to me looks a little bit more classy. Now this pad over here is also wrapped in leather and it's a bit softer to touch as well. And then there's this Veloz logo. Yeah, adds a touch of class to the whole cabin that is missing in the Alza, I think. At the bottom of this panel, there's also this small stitching that extends right into the door cards, which I think looks pretty cool as well. Right behind that panel in the door card is a few blue lights. This is standard fit ambient lighting on the Veloz, which again is missing on the Alza. The same lights are here as well. I think this adds on a touch of premiumness to the Veloz, which I think is really cool. Now on to the tech differences. The aircon controls are different. Here you've got 2 round dials. You've also got an automatic function. Now this finally is a proper automatic climate control system, whereas in the Alza that's just plain old digital aircon, but technically that's still an old school manual system. At the top is a nice and big 9-inch touchscreen head unit. Now the interface looks a bit different to the one in the Alza, but much more appreciated is the upgrade to wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So here with this car, you can just operate CarPlay without having to plug it in. I think it looks and works far more seamlessly. To charge your phone, just put it on this wireless Qi charging pad over here for a proper wireless experience. Another big upgrade for the Veloz is the steering wheel adjustment. Now in the Alza, you can just move the steering wheel up and down. That is tilt adjustment. With the Veloz, it adds on telescopic adjustment as well. You can bring it closer to you. This is absolutely crucial, especially for taller drivers. They are going to feel much more comfortable driving this compared to the Alza, especially for longer distances. Other than that, the car is mostly identical to the cheaper Perodua. The fully digital instrument cluster, I think, has a slightly more elaborate animations going on, but more or less they're about the same. The one downgrade for the Veloz is the missing center lock button that is in the Alza. With this one, you have to lock or unlock your door using this small switch over here, which here does not look or feel very nice to use. Now from here on back, it's pretty much identical between this and the Alza, although the upholstery is slightly different between the two. Now this is still part leather and part fabric upholstery, but look up close and the seat pattern is a bit different between the two. This has a nice diamond pattern on it, and it's also nice and soft to the touch as well. I think it does add on a little bit to the comfort of sitting on these seats. But beyond that, like I said, it's 100% identical between this and the Alza. It is a super spacious 5-seater with a big boot as well, and at the top is a very nice rear aircon vents. Now if you want to use this car as a full 7-seater, you absolutely can. You can actually seat 7 adults in this car, although with all seats up, the boot gets a little bit less useful. Even then, I still wouldn't call it useless like I would in most other MPVs in this class. Now, as for safety, the Veloz is absolutely top-notch. It has 7 airbags and the full suite of active safety features. It has autonomous emergency braking or AEB, it's got adaptive cruise control or ACC, active lane keep assist, blind spot monitor, rear cross traffic alert, the lot. Under the skin, the Veloz is nearly identical to the Alza. You've got the exact same 1.5-litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine with dual VVTi, and here it makes 106 PS and 137 Newton meters of torque. The gearbox is also new, here a D CVT sending power to the front wheels. Now, this combo is far more modern compared to the Avanza from before. That had a slightly different engine, plus a more old-school 4-speed automatic sending power to the rear wheels. This Veloz rides on the Daihatsu New Global Architecture or DNGA. This promises a far superior driving dynamics compared to the super old-school Avanza that's coming up to about 20 years old now. So that's the all-new Toyota Veloz here in Malaysia. Clearly, this is a huge step forward compared to the aging Avanza, but whether this is going to be worth 20,000 ringgit more than the Perodua Alza is going to be down to your own preference and spending power. Would you get this over the Alza? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section below. And for now, thank you for watching and stay safe, everyone.